expect you to obey these rules. Let's have a nice, clean fight. Good luck to the both of you.
Hurtado at this level, totally unknown. And Hurtado plants Whitaker on his butt. Legitimate knockdown with a right-hand punch. Pernell smiling as if to say, George, I don't think that was a slip. That was a knockdown.
It wasn't a slip, but he was standing square to Hurtado, and he was off balance. But it is a knockdown, and he has to overcome what could be a 2-point lead already.
Disbelief through much of the bout as Pastrana befuddled Carvajal. Whitaker lands a left hand over the top. Been on his trunks before. He was down against Rafael Williams early in his career. He's knocked down by Roger Mayweather. He was knocked down by Buddy McGirt, so it isn't the first time. Hurtado likes to move and flurry and stand still a lot. Circles to both sides. Punches when he gets close and takes a shot. The convention center, Pernell Whitaker trying to step right through Diobelys Hurtado on his way to Oscar de la Hoya.
Underestimating young kid. You'll take a look at the quick knockdown. This is like a wake-up call at about 12:01 a.m. That's how fast that happened.
75 to 80% of the rounds in which he's fought. Loses the first round here and now gets a measure of revenge with a hard left hand that drives Hurtado back.
Good right hands. You can't follow them just by... Yeah, well, Whitaker has got to cut off the ring with his fist. He can't just do it with his feet, which he is doing. Put his right jab in front of him. Put together some combinations. They don't have to be exactly on the button, which he's trying to do.
Whitaker's knee touches the canvas again. This one, McCanny rules a slip.
Teta has a...
Hurtado with a low blow.
Keep it clean.
That's why when you're fighting these guys, you almost have to bring amateurs in camp with you to train, because if you prepare yourself against seasoned pros...
Hurtado's had the jazz, and Pernell Whitaker hasn't been able to rock.
Whitaker's starting to use his hand and just stop.
20 punches, or landed only 20 out of 61 punches, so Hurtado has been the busier fighter, and as Hurtado turns away.
To now that he's become the total aggressor here.
And get some momentum going, get those points back. That's a lot of nerve to go in there with Pernell Whitaker doing the dances.
And Whitaker moving more and more toward a brawling style as he tries to open Hurtado up. Totally awkward style, and has brought Whitaker out of his game plan early.
You said last week what happens to old fighters, George, is that first their legs go, then their chin goes, and then their friends go.
Sometimes he's stumbling down on his own.
Left out the best part.
Intent on repeating that knockdown.
Well, and he's going to have a better chance of repeating that knockdown by the legendary Alcide Segarra, the longtime coach of Cuba, Felix Savon, and Teofilo Stevenson.
Round and throw all your power, you are not going to have any.
Would have gotten any rhythm going on his jab at all. And Hurtado stops him in his tracks with a couple of counter shots. And Hurtado lands 2 to the body. Have some high drama coming down the stretch.
Hurtado is getting the best of this fight. There's no doubt about it, because
I imagine that Whitaker thinks he's back in the '84 Olympics.
You're backing the other guy up, and really the guy is making you follow him around.
Well, he's going to win. Hurtado. You're going to get it.
See, those shots are hurting Pernell Whitaker. He's throwing his energy away, looking for one shot to get this knockdown back.
Now Whitaker starts to go to the body, and Hurtado reacts in such a way that that looks like a good idea for Pernell. I think you can bet that between rounds, Lou Duba and Ronnie Shields are going to ask Pernell to go back to the ribcage of Diobelys Hurtado, and Hurtado lands a low blow as that round comes to a close, and Pete limps around as though for the moment in agony.
I find it difficult. There you saw the low blow. I find it difficult to get.
He's behind on quickness this time. First time.
And again, Whitaker almost loses his feet as the right knee dipped almost all the way down to the canvas. Whitaker comes over the top with the left. Hurtado managing to tie him up momentarily, and Hurtado from odd angle angles, but lands them.
And he goes to the body, which means that this could be have a decaying effect on Whitaker in the latter round.
Even though all those fights are against relatively unknown opposition, straight left hand for Whitaker. Best punch of the fight for Pernell.
He throws a good 1-2 and doesn't come back with a hook. And that's where the trouble starts. This guy beats him with that third shot.
Just from Hurtado.
Now Whitaker comes back. Unbalanced by holding up with a hook.
Hurtado with another low blow. Mercanti. Pernell ought to tattoo him with the jab.
Yeah, he can't see on that side, no doubt about it, but Whitaker just doesn't seem to want to penetrate and concentrate on that line.
1 point.
1 point being deducted from Hurtado. Still has an early lead. Remember, he knocked Whitaker down in the opening seconds of the fight.
Whitaker will not be able to walk around with his hands down like that, thinking this kid can't hit him.
Duction, because Whitaker is ducking in an awkward way, and Hurtado is just swinging and hitting on the top.
Seconds out.
There you can see Pernell goes down. I don't understand why that's a point deduction.
So statistically, at least, Hurtado has the numerical advantages. Whitaker is depending more on the straight left than the jab up to this point, although he threw 2 jabs there and then set up what became a low blow. Hurtado goes down. Timeout. Down goes Whitaker for the second time in the fight.
The way he's coming into Hurtado, flat, head down, off.
The millions draining away. And you're reminded of some of the great missed opportunities. And most recent one, of course, Buster Douglas. So it's happened before.
Be an excellent boxer. You don't want to end it trying to be a slugger, and that's what Whitaker's doing now.
Whitaker lands a big left hand as the round comes to a close. But
there you saw that. Now that was a clean knockdown, a much cleaner knockdown I felt than in the first round. That one stung a little bit.
And ashen-faced De La Hoya moves in to join us at ringside right now.
Whitaker is always a game fighter. He's always prepared, but
now I thought that punch hurt Whitaker more than any punch that's hit him so far, even though he didn't go down.
Whitaker has to use more jabs. He's not using his jab whatsoever. And I feel that if Whitaker uses his jabs more, he can lead with those right hands afterwards. He's just coming straight in with the right hands. If he comes in, moving his head, moving his waist with the jabs, he will do well against him.
Well,
meanwhile, another point deduction from Hurtado for holding behind the head. So the points he's gained with the knockdowns, he has lost to foul deductions.
Kind of quickness and movement that makes it difficult to fight him.
Had an easier time with this guy.
Whitaker trying right hooks off the front foot now. He's still blinking his eyes, George, although he's having trouble seeing in there.
Whitaker's got him hurt now, but has he enough to finish him off? That's hard to do when you've been a puncher for the whole fight. You've got to finish him off while you got him hurt.
Hurtado will be happy to go to his corner this time. And is worried about his ability to finish the fight. He's trying to stay away from Whitaker as the 8th begins.
Whitaker's still not able to land his jab, but the secret here tonight is Hurtado's got the out of the way and he gets hit.
Whitaker with a hard left hand to the body.
That hurt.
Oscar, is anything that happens in this fight relevant to your fight with Whitaker if it happens?
Human beings. And but Hurtado's giving them trouble and pick up different combinations that Whitaker's opponents have been, giving them trouble with. So,
well, of course, one huge difference as Whitaker goes down to the canvas again, and this is the 3rd slip for Whitaker. He's actually been on the canvas 5 times tonight. 2 knockdowns, 3 slips. You're probably the one who's going to have to chase if you face him in April.
Well, actually, it's going to be a very tough fight if Whitaker does win. And Whitaker didn't train for this fight because a slip like that, you don't just slip down if you don't have legs, if you didn't train. And that's what Whitaker's doing now. He just didn't train for this guy because he thought it was going to be an easy fight.
I pointed out earlier, if you remember,
down goes Hurtado, and this will be called a slip.
That some difficulty making the weight. Who knows what it indicates? Oscar is saying maybe it indicates is Pernell is not used to being the aggressor, so that he's getting himself into positions, into awkward positions where he can be knocked down.
A fighter who always tends to go back and wait for you to make mistakes and throw punches.
Here you see a series of some of the stuff that's going on between this fighter who George calls a glorified amateur, and I think correctly. This is not like anything that Whitaker has seen probably for 15 years.
Got to get closer and stay close. He's getting in trouble whenever he gets on the end of those shots. But he's got to stay close to this kid. He can't stay on the outside. Whitaker is too late now to start working on the jab. You got to get close to this kid and don't allow him to get anything going.
Now that was a pro move. Maybe the only one we've seen him use tonight. Whatever happens in this fight, it's clear now that this is a terrible match for Pernell Whitaker.
He's stopping. There you go.
There it was. And Hurtado completely turns his back, and Whitaker decides to keep going after him, and now Mercanti deducts a point from Whitaker. It's nervous time now as Oscar De La Hoya watches at ringside and considers how to replace the millions of dollars that will go away if Pernell Whitaker loses the Diobelys Hurtado. Straight left hand by Whitaker. Now Pernell holds Hurtado behind the right hand, or behind the head with the right hand.
Whenever Whitaker decides to throw that right hook, he connects every time. That's the trouble.
He's not going to do a lot of damage out here in the center of the ring. The way Hurtado's fighting, he's going to have to pin him against the ropes.
Now let's see about the point that was taken away. I don't know, that's another, just as I didn't think that Whitaker earned a point that was taken away from Hurtado earlier.
Let me tell you something. If you turn away, the other guy has no right to hit you in the back of the head or the kidneys. You can kill a guy like that, Larry.
Whitaker ahead 6 rounds to 2 with 1 even, which shows how weird I am about this fight. Good punch.
Hard right hand by Hurtado as Whitaker.
The shake hits him up. Good right hand. Whitaker was able to land a good straight left hand right to the middle of the face that time.
Yep. Scorecards.
Well, Jim, I'm crossing my fingers.
To be afraid of him, to train properly too. Good body punch by him.
A gym to become a fighter. He later got a master's degree in phys ed at Havana University, so he probably can fight like this all night and all weekend.
2-3, and that's when the trouble starts.
How do you throw 1-2-3s against this?
That hurt.
Right hand lead by Hurtado, and he needs a knockout to win.
Sometimes you.
So in all likelihood, this baby's going to the scorecards. And it doesn't promise to get any prettier or more fluid in the last couple of rounds.
Good right hand by.
Chopping right over the top by Hurtado. That's right.
Yeah, and he didn't expect it. That good body punch.
Yeah, left to the body by Whitaker. Hurtado stops throwing. Whitaker keeps going to the body.
The young fighter, he's going to pay him back for that.
And
Throughout the whole fight is that Hurtado's beating Whitaker to his game.
oh, what a left hand by Whitaker. And he takes advantage with 4 more straight lefts. Arthur McCanny watching. And it's over. It is over. Pernell Whitaker rescues himself dramatically. And Oscar De La Hoya lights into a smile as big as all Atlantic City.
I love it. I love it. That's what boxing is all about.
Correct. He got himself hung up in the ropes one night at Madison Square Garden and wound up dying in a New York hospital. I think if he had it to do over again, Arthur McCanty might have stopped this 1 or 2 punches short of where he finally did so.
I agree with you, Jim. He was helpless there on the ropes. He couldn't escape, and he wasn't returning any fire.
Stopping right there would have been okay. That's okay. That would have done. That would have been nice. I think Arthur would like to have that one back. Just a couple punches short of there.
Be that as it may,
You can't expect Whitaker to back up now, knowing that he's been behind all night. He's trying to finish it.
No, Whitaker's just doing his job. He did exactly what he had to do under those circumstances.
well,
Like George Foreman and Joe Frazier.
nobody ever followed a corner's instructions better.
That's for sure.
They told him he had to go out and knock the guy out,
And he did it.
and he went out and did
No,
it.
no, James Toney against Tim Littles followed instructions in exactly the same way.
I said better. And I've just gotten word.
And still, WBC welterweight champion of the world, Pernell Sweet Pea